Hi guys, David here. Well, it's been a while since I posted a video on the blog channel, hasn't it? It's been about probably 3 months or so. For those of you not in the know who didn't realise, I was in hospital. I had been diagnosed with something called diverticulitis, which is a kind of bowel disease. I had to have some surgery. It took me a good couple of months to fully recover from it. I'm just about there now. But yeah, obviously YouTube wasn't exactly the priority, so I just focused on getting better. I've made mention of this on my main channel that I'm back and filming again, but I really haven't had a chance to update the blog channel, mainly because I've been trying to focus on the cooking channel since I do YouTube as my job, not as a hobby, and it's basically the thing that brings the money in. I kind of wanted to focus on it first. So that's what I've been doing. I've had a lot of people ask me questions and wanting more details about what I went through, and I thought I might as well try and cover everything in one video. So first question everyone's asking is, when are videos coming back to this channel? So the blog channel is going to become something irregular for the time being. Once I'm fully up and running and back to normal, I should be right to getting back to what I normally do. But for the moment, it's just going to be when I feel like making a blog video, I will, and I'll pop it up, as is the case with this video. Some people have been asking about the taste test videos. I have decided for the time being to not do taste tests for the moment. I might bring it back later, but for the moment I've decided to stop. There's many reasons. The main one is that I'm kind of done it. Like I think I've done about 60 or 70 taste test videos over the last couple of years, and it's kind of feeling a bit repetitive for me, so I want to try and do something different with it if I bring it back. The other reason that I don't really want to do it is we've had a couple of issues with people sending things that were possibly not safe to send, or there was definitely one case of somebody who had deliberately sent something very nasty. So I've decided it's not something that I'm probably going to be getting people to send me stuff anymore. As much as I love that, and as much as I appreciate the generosity of people who have done that, it's a safety issue, so I've decided that from now on, if I do taste test videos, it'll be stuff that I've procured myself. Coffee Time will be back soon. I'll start off by answering the questions from the last Coffee Time video, which I think was about 3 months ago, possibly more. So we'll do them and we'll just restart them as we go. So keep an eye out. Coffee Time will return soon. Other than that, blog videos will just come as they come, and the cooking channel is more or less back up and running as it was. I'm doing 2 videos a week instead of 3 at the moment, just so I can get back into it and not go too crazy, because I don't want to sort of overwork myself. A lot of people wanted to know what exactly I went through in hospital, so I thought I'll give you a rough idea. So I went into hospital the first week of June. It was a Monday, and first thing, they took me into the anaesthetic bay and they started giving me pre-op medication, stuff to make me a little bit drowsy. The next thing I remember was them trying to put a tube down my throat, and I couldn't really breathe properly, and I was half conscious and I was having a bit of a panic attack, and then that's the last thing I remember. Next thing I know was I was in intensive care, because I was in intensive care for a couple of days after the surgery. I don't really remember what it was that was going on, but I do know that I have several selfies on my phone which were really odd, so I couldn't have been too out of it. I just don't have any memory of it, but there were several pictures on my phone that I'd taken of myself and of various things around the room, so I have no idea what the hell happened there. From there, I remember going back into the normal ward, which was, I think, about Wednesday afternoon. I was still very much out of it. They had me on a self-administered drip of, God knows, this cocktail of painkillers and drugs and stuff, so I was barely able to move. I was sort of very, very groggy. I was having the most incredible hallucinations and stuff. But that being said, I didn't actually feel much in the way of pain. It was a little bit uncomfortable because they actually cut me from here all the way down to just above my groin. So it's a very big thing. Several people wanted to know why it was such a big incision. Normally it's done via keyhole, so they do like a little incision. But what happened was there were complications. I've got a spinal injury, and normally what they would do to knock me out is that they would do a combination of certain drugs, and they would also give me an epidural into my spine to basically put a neural block so I wouldn't feel anything. Problem was they weren't able to do the neural block into my spine because I've got a damaged spine, and they couldn't find a good place to do it. So they had to do a different kind of anaesthetic, and because they were doing that, they weren't able to do the normal kind of keyhole surgery, so they basically had to open me up the whole way. I'm not that worried about that. I mean, I've got a huge scar, but that being said, I'm alive. So I can live with a scar if it means that I'm alive, so that works for me. Yeah, so it took a few days before the drugs and everything wore off. It was pretty scary, I've got to be honest, because like being so drugged out, and as I said, I was having these really bad hallucinations. They were like waking nightmares, and I won't go into the details of what I was sort of feeling and seeing, but it was pretty bloody awful. Almost as awful as the food in the hospital, seriously. I hadn't eaten for nearly sort of 2-3 months beforehand because of how ill I had become. So what little solid food I was getting was just, I would have thought, yes, anything will be good. And no, it was all awful. It was the worst food I've ever seen. And I was like, oh God. It was like having to sort of try and force myself to eat this revolting, terribly cooked food. And I was like, oh no. So many people were saying, you should have done a video. You should have shown this stuff. And I'm there going, no, like it was enough I had to eat it, let alone to get a camera out and take pictures and all that sort of stuff. I thought, no. I ended up going home on the Saturday in the afternoon, and I was able to stay at home for a couple of days before I had to go back to the hospital to have some more scans done just to make sure everything was healing up properly. So I went back on the Tuesday to have the scans done, and I was out of the hospital that evening, and I've just basically been looking after myself ever since. I wasn't able to drive for about 3 weeks after the surgery. I wasn't allowed to pick up anything heavy. I'm still not allowed to pick up anything heavy. I'm sort of on restricted movements and restricted weight limits and things, so I can't sort of go and pick up heavy bags of shopping or any of that sort of stuff. But once all these muscles here have knitted back together, because they cut through my abdominal muscles there, so once they're knitted back together, I should be fine and be able to sort of pick things up. But the one thing I'm sort of surprised at from all of this is just how quickly the recovery time was. I was expecting this to be a lot more painful, a lot more complicated, a lot more difficult to get over than it actually was. It was actually surprisingly easy to get through. There was some pain, there was some discomfort, but nothing compared to what I was expecting. So I think that's testament to the doctors and the medical team that I had, who did an amazing job looking after me. So a big thank you to them. Other than that, as I say, I'm pretty much back to how I was. It's just a matter of waiting for things to heal up properly. So I'm glad to be back into the kitchen and filming new videos and doing things and getting back to work. Alright guys, I think that pretty much covers everything for the time being. As I said, I'll start working on coffee time and stuff when I feel up to it, and we'll be back in business soon. Big thanks to everyone for all the kind messages and support and patience more than anything else over the last few months. It's great to be back, and thank you very much for watching. Alright guys, see you later.